Tagging and piecing, though appear very different, have many things in common. I had the liberty of speaking to graffiti artist Angel Carrillo, better known on the streets as Cruz.
I started doing graff back in '95. I guess I got inspired by just seeing like graffiti around the alleyways around my neighborhood on the West End, around Keel Street. I wanted to explore it, so I kind of just started doodling a lot of my own sketchbook during art classes, on desks and whatnot. I got very curious and interested in this whole art form, and from there on it just kind of took off. In graffiti, there are rules, right? So you got to follow them rules. You got to paint it legally. You got to do stuff on the ground. You know, constantly keep the tradition alive, which is understanding. But at the same time, it's repetitive and unnecessary when the only rule is to destroy the city. You know what I mean? Like there's no challenge in that. It's like, okay, you're just doodling. You know what I mean? There's no message being sent. That pushes buttons in society. If you actually talked about something, there's so much topics to talk about. You can talk about the global warming. You can talk about, you know, unnecessary wars that are happening globally. You can talk about religion wars. You can talk about sexism, racism, you name it. The topics are endless. Talk about that. Talk about what frustrates you if you're going to do something illegal. Then maybe you cause a reaction. But if your idea is just to say, hey, I'm going to put my name up to get up, then you really are not doing anything for graffiti. It's just you're doing it for yourself, and it's self-promotion. I just don't think that's what graff is all about. So in graff, there's two different styles. You got guys who do pieces and burners. Okay, pieces and burners are guys who do the actual mural, the colors, the work on the dimension of the typography, do actual work, production work. Those guys are the guys who are constantly working on showcasing graffiti for the art form that it is, the rawness of it. Bombers, now these guys are the guys who tag, they'll throw bubble letters all over the city. The idea of a bomber is that the concept is basically your tags are all over the place like an explosion. You just blew up, so that's a bomb, right? So that's a bomb, that's what he does. The problem is when a bomber and a graffiti artist, let's say a graffiti artist goes over a bomber, that's when war starts, because a bomber is going to feel like, I cover the city, you have to have that respect, it's street credit. But a graffiti artist will put more work into his actual production that no matter how many bombs you have in the city, a piece or a burner will always top any bomber's work all the time, no matter what.
I traveled downtown Toronto and spoke to some shop owners about their buildings being tagged. This is what they had to say.
What I think about my building being tagged is that what it do, it degrades the value of the business. Because when you have such thing as graffiti on the building and people pass it by, right, they don't really see the building beauty anymore, because that takes away the image. People still come in because, I mean, they know we're here and what kind of service that we offer to the public, so they don't really look at the tag, but the tag is an issue. Every so often what we do, we repaint it. As soon as we repaint it, they tag it again.
I'm not sure it's disinviting. Queen Street used to be different. It wasn't always so corporate, and I think the little bits of graffiti still left over are just the last remnants of it before it became a large outdoor shopping mall. So I don't mind it at all.
Basically, the reason we allowed Angel to do the mural on the back of the building was because we get tagged quite often by local kids who I guess are just trying to mark their territory. And this was our attempt to thwart their efforts. Generally, from what I understand, if you have a nice mural or something that's preconceived up on the wall, kids will avoid tagging it.
I sat down with former bomber Cola, who gave his opinion about bombing.
I'd say bombing is good practice, and you can see the skill of someone's artistic skills with the can based on how they can lay up a nice bomb. However, I'd prefer a piece over a bomb just because it looks better. There's more time obviously put into it.
Whether it's legal or illegal, you got to send out a message, and I think that's the downfall of graffiti. There's nothing challenging about bombing in one side of a wall. If you want to challenge yourself, go on a skyscraper, paint that. You know, make it something that is memorable, something that can push the limit of bombing.